Very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, more than 10,000 people in Ireland are living with multiple sclerosis, but our next guests have not let their diagnosis stop them.
Yes, they're set to take on their biggest challenge yet while trying to beat a world record, all to raise awareness for MS. Runners Colin Goodman and Matt Naggs join us now to tell us all about it. Good morning to you both. Colin, we'll start with you. 2017, that's when you got your diagnosis. But in the lead up to it, what did you notice that wasn't right?
So for me, I was a bit of a footballer. So double vision in one of my eyes. Ball was coming in, ball would split in two. And you have to pick a ball, and usually I missed. It was neither. It was the ball in the middle. So, a bit of double vision in one eye. Went to opticians, vision's fine. Went to the hospital, and it was a long day in hospital that day. It was a 5-hour day in hospital. I was very fortunate to be seen by an eye specialist, and there was a neurologist in the hospital that day.
Lucky, yeah.
So they were able to basically kind of give me an idea of what could be going on. And from there, it just escalated to another eye test and a final diagnosis of MS.
Okay, but before you got to that final diagnosis, your symptoms improved.
They did, because I walked in and I sat down. My wife was beside me, and I kind of sat down and was like, Gavin, there's nothing wrong with me. I said, symptoms have got better. You guys were wrong. Meanwhile, he's got this page that says, this guy has MS. So I kind of said, look, you were wrong. I said, healthy diet, getting to bed at the right time. I'm good, don't worry about me. And he goes, well, Colin, your vitamin D levels are low, you have lesions, unfortunately you have MS. So from that point, I think my words were, give me the medication and let's get moving.
Yeah, and that's such a great attitude to have. And of course, Matt, you're joining us as well. 5 o'clock in the morning where you are, so I really appreciate you chatting to us. Tell us your path to diagnosis and what symptoms did you have?
So in my case, I had a very kind of gradual onset of symptoms. It started with odd tingling sensations, numbness throughout my body, but it progressed to extreme bouts of fatigue where just for no reason, no explicable reason, I would just lose all strength and energy. And eventually it progressed to the point where I would feel electrical shocks pulsating throughout my body. And I was no longer able to really walk very far, even without feeling that electrical energy kind of pulsating throughout my body. So it took about 9 months of multiple appointments and trips to the emergency room where constantly I was told, we've given you all the tests, you're fine. But eventually I was admitted after not being able to walk suddenly. Again, it just happened in a moment. And fortunately, I was able to see a neurologist that was able to redo some testing and pinpoint specifically that I indeed had MS.
You were told you would be in a wheelchair within 5 years. I mean, hearing news like that, absolutely devastating. What was your reaction? How did you process that?
The very first two thoughts in my mind were, one, will I be able to walk my daughters down the aisle one day? And two, will I be able to kick my kids' butts in sports? Those were the things that first jumped out at me. And of course, my wife and I have always had travel plans. I had big career plans. And for me, it was all in question, or almost as though I had to change all of those plans because now life was going to be different. And fortunately, I didn't maintain that attitude for very long. And I decided, why start living as though life must be different before my body is actually forcing me to? And that's how I started my group, Running with MS, and how I met Colin.
Okay, so you guys met online?
Yeah.
Okay, so when did running come into it for you? Because you haven't let this diagnosis stop you.
No, so just my backstory was before MS, never wanted to do a marathon, never wanted to run, never thought about running.
Wasn't on your radar at all, was it?
Nope, I hated running. getting that diagnosis, I thought, let's go out for a wee jog. 3 miles turned into half marathon, turned into a couple of marathons, turned into just taking over my life. And so that was just, the running just, I enjoyed it. And when you enjoy something, you just keep doing it and doing more of it.
And how then did that lead you to linking up with Matt?
I've tried an attempt to run Mizzen to Malin before, and I found this Facebook group, and it's a really positive space. It suits me. It's not about what you can't do, it's about what you can do. So this guy running it called Matt, I texted him, I said, Matt, can I promote my first attempt at this run, my Mizzen to Nearly Limerick run, on your channel? And he says, of course, come on, post it. And then from then, I think, Matt, we've still got our first message where I mentioned that, can I post this stuff? And from then it was just, we started talking, we started texting, sometimes I talk to Matt more than the wife.
So good, great friends now, and so he's coming with you on this thing.
Yeah, Matt, do you want to tell a story?
Yeah, go on.
Please do, Matt.
Yeah, so you are all meeting Colin before I am. So I'll meet Colin for the first time at the end of June when I arrive in Dublin. But how it all started, after Colin first attempted this run, we started talking much more. And, I had asked him, do you want to do this again? And he said, yeah, I think so, but, I want to be ready for it. And eventually we started talking about, wouldn't it be really cool if one day we got together for a run? And at the time, a run just meant maybe Matt's traveling and, he's in Europe and we go for, 5-mile jog. But then that turned into, wait a minute, when you reattempt doing Mizzen to Malin, what if Matt did it too? And so I had tried to also prep my wife that this conversation would be happening. And she's been so supportive of all the crazy things I've tried to do over the past several years as well. And so we had talked about it being in 2027. But in summer of 2025, she said to me, Matt, if you feel ready and if Colin's ready, then why wait? Why, nothing is promised. So just do it now. And so I said, hey, if you're okay with it, that's great with me. And I had sent Colin a message. I said, hey, I want to record a podcast episode with you, but I'm not going to tell you what it's about. So me asking Colin if he would like to do this run together was all captured live on our podcast. And you got his real reaction also, which blew me away. I thought for sure he would be asking his wife first. And he said, Matt, trust me, she supports me in everything. I'm in. I don't even have to think about it.
Oh, the bromance is real there.
You set him up, Matt.
Yeah, he did.
Now,
absolutely.
But I'm trying to get my head around the fact that you were given this notice that you might be in a wheelchair within 5 years, to not only doing like a jog, to a run, to a 10K, to a marathon, to 6 marathons in a row, to an ultra marathon. How did that progress for you? Never mind how you roped this fella into doing this next run, which we'll talk about in a second. How did you mentally and physically do that?
So once I had started to recover from my initial, it's called a relapse. Once I came out of that period of heightened symptoms, it started to become a goal for me to just get back to where I had been before my MS had gotten so bad. So I set out this goal of doing a half marathon again. That was the farthest I had ever run before being diagnosed. But then after that, I said, why stop there? And it became very much about proving to myself and hopefully inspiring others around me that, we don't have to limit ourselves to whatever kind of limits we place on ourselves or what someone else may place on us too. So me hearing 5 years from now, you'll likely be in a wheelchair became kind of a rallying cry for me to say, well, if that's true, I'm going to do as much as I can until that point, or I'm going to pretend it's not true and do even more than I ever thought was possible. So I just began to build and build and build my confidence from there. And thankfully, I've been surrounded by so many people like Colin who've inspired me. This group that we're in together has over 1,000 runners with MS all over the world who are extremely positive, extremely encouraging, and they inspire me after now more than 6 years of trying to see what I can do for as long as I can do. So I recognize I'm just very blessed that, when it comes to having MS, for many of us, it is a series of ups and downs. And in my case, even 4 months ago, I was going through bouts of being bedridden due to symptoms that I had. And it's battling back over and over again. But seeing where other folks are with MS and how they push through inspires me to keep going. Not only that, but trying to be the best version of myself for my wife and my kids is the thing that always keeps me coming back to, no matter how challenging it is, to keep pushing forward.
Okay. There's a bit of preparation, though, that has to be placed, because you're literally running the length of Ireland and you're going from the bottom to the top. People will think that's all uphill. But
a lot of it is.
Life's uphill. A lot of preparation. So this started back in November, where I started contacting. I'm going to give a shout out to a lot of Ireland here, a lot of hotels who have came on board and supported us. 90% of our accommodation has been covered by the hotels taking us in.
Oh, wow.
Phenomenal people. We have people coming on board from Alter Nutrition and other brands, Used Cars NI, who are helping support this run and support this journey. But like every night I've been on my computer, my wife will testify to it, that I'm just looking at the route, looking the way the route going. Then we've got the training involved. Yeah. So then we have to then work out, what does training look like? Training looks different for me and for Matt. Yeah. My brother, who last time attempting this was a crewman, he's joining me, so the three of us are doing it. We've applied for a Guinness World Record. That's going ahead. So it's now the fastest crossing of Ireland by a team with MS. It's absolutely mammoth. The first few days are 30-mile days, and then we're moving up into 33-mile days to get it all completed. So in terms of organisation, running can take over your life, and in my case, it kind of has.
I'd say your wife will testify to that anyway, I'd say. But we have to go back to why you're doing all of this, of course, and it is research, because ultimately that is what the crux of the matter is, finding treatments, finding, and hopefully eventually a cure. Yeah,
so at the minute, we're so close to a cure with MS. I believe we're so close to a cure with MS. And, we've got a lot of medications out there that halt MS. But what we try to do is we're trying to raise £100,000, dollars or euro for multiple sclerosis. And hopefully that will go towards maybe finding a cure to heal the myelin sheath rather than just halting the disease.
I'm sure the cells affected by the disease.
So it's trying to actually reverse the disease rather than just halting the disease.
Yeah. So it's for MS awareness in America, in Europe, in Ireland.
So the three charities are MS Run the US, which is the American side. We have MS Ireland, who have been supporting me a lot, which have been brilliant, and we have MS Society NI. And our website, if you want to donate, if you want to support in any way, shape or form, come out and run, is www.msrunsireland.com.
Now, I need to ask both of you, Matt and Colin, you haven't met in person yet. No. This sounds like a fantastic romance story, really. I'm getting very carried away. How do you feel about meeting each other in person, Matt?
I'm looking forward to it. For one, I'm still not quite exactly sure how tall Colin is, so it's going to be interesting to see, does he measure up to what I have in my mind? Outside of that, though, I feel like Colin is my brother already. I mean, at this point, we've gotten to know each other really well over the last 4 years now. And so even though we haven't met in person, we speak every day. And so it just feels like the culmination to something that I think we've both been looking forward to. So I'm looking forward to it very much.
Oh, that's
okay. Have you got the tea bags and all the crisps in so that he can get completely Irishified as soon as he lands?
Potato bread, everything.
Everything.
You name
Proper
it.
Sausages, the business.
And Matt's looking forward to the food. I think that's part of his adventure. He loves food. So he's coming over and he's getting Irish breakfast.
And he'll be well fed the whole way along the route, I'm sure, by all the fantastic businesses who've supported you. Colin, thank you so much for joining us.
What you're doing is brilliant. It really is, both of you.
bring a tear to a glass eye. I swear to God, watching this relationship.
Matt just wants to be able to get back to bed and not wake the kids.
Matt, thank you so much for getting up early or staying up late to join us. I'm not sure which. And of course, Colin, thank you so much. And best of luck on your amazing Guinness World Record Attempt Challenge. We'll be watching and waiting for
We'll have fingers
success.
crossed.
Thank you.